In this week's parasha, Parashat Shemot, Sefer Shemot, we're starting a brand new Sefer of the Torah, and we're going to get finally introduced to Moshe Rabbeinu, who's going to be the biggest character, the biggest protagonist in the rest of the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu, the greatest Jew to ever live. And we're going to begin with the early life of Moshe Rabbeinu and a couple of key points in his early life that at least foreshadow or to show us a little bit of a hint to why Moshe Rabbeinu was so great. So I know, like the famous Divrei Torah, when do we really see Moshe Rabbeinu first becoming this great leader that he's supposed to be? It's that we have this prince of Egypt that's growing up in the house of Paro amongst the aristocracy, yet he goes out to his brothers, and when he sees the Egyptian hitting the Jew, he's going to protect the Jew. He's going to protect the weak. He's going to protect the Jewish people. He identifies with the Jewish people, and that already is Moshe Rabbeinu early on in his life, checking out the weak, recognizing that. And we know the same thing's going to happen by the well when he's going to save the Benot Yitro from the Midianites that are messing with them. And the same thing is in the Midrashim, that he cares for every individual sheep and takes care of the sheep as well. He's going to be the shepherd for everybody. But I was reading Dvar Torah in last year's Bar Ilan parasha sheet from a professor, a Dr. David Cohen Semach, and he actually takes this idea even a little bit stronger, and says if you look at the actual Pesukim, there's hint and foreshadowing in the Pesukim to what Moshe is going to be in a much greater level, meaning the early stories of Moshe's life is really going to be the later stories of Moshe Rabbeinu's life as well. And we know the famous Dvar Torah that Moshe's language itself is he was taken out of the water, and the famous question, if he's named for being taken out of the water, why is he called Moshe? He should be called Mashui. The one was taken out. So that many commentators say Moshe is a language that he's going to take us out, that his whole job is going to be to take us out. He's going to split the sea for us. He's going to be bringing us the water. Moshe Rabbeinu is all about the water and saving the Jewish people. He was saved from the water, so he's going to save the Benot Yitro from the water, and he's also going to save the Jewish people by splitting that sea as well. So that already, just in that first initial story, we already see that this foreshadowing of who Moshe really is. But says this professor Cohen Semach a couple of other ideas. He says, first off, we have the whole area when he's in the desert. What's that teaching you? So first, on a simple level, Moshe Rabbeinu is going to is a shepherd. He's going to have to shepherd the Jewish people. He's known as the reliable shepherd to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's going to be his shepherding of the sheep in the desert. That's going to first give him those skills to how to shepherd the Jewish people. But he also mentions the fact that he's in the Midbar, the fact that he's in the desert. We're going to have to spend 40 years in the desert. We need somebody who has to understand the desert. And at least according to the Midrashim, he's only going to come back at 80 years old, according to the Pasuk in the Torah. He was there for decades in the desert, so he actually really learned a lot of those skills he's going to need to lead us in the desert. But his stronger Dvar Torah comes from the two stories that we have in Egypt that ultimately leads to him fleeing from Egypt. In the first story, Moshe Rabbeinu sees the Mitzri being makeh, hitting the Jew, and then ultimately, what does he do? Moshe himself is vayakeh. He himself hits the Mitzri. So says this professor, he says that the first story is, how does Moshe Rabbeinu deal with the outside world, deal with the non-Jews who are attacking the Jewish people? What's going to be Moshe Rabbeinu's plan? What's he going to do? He's going to hit back. He's going to have a vayakeh, and that's going to be a hint and a foreshadowing. It's like a maseh abotzim labanim on himself, to himself later on. He's going to be bringing the makot, and we know HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to come out with his yad hachazakah, but we also know Moshe Rabbeinu's yad hachazakah. He's the one holding up that mateh and doing God's will. So just like Moshe is originally going to be the one that's going to makeh the Mitzri, he's going to come back again when he's decades later, at 80 years old. He's going to bring the makot onto the Mitzrim. So the first story teaches you how is Moshe Rabbeinu going to deal with the Egyptians, with the non-Jewish world. Now, the second story is going to tell us how does Moshe Rabbeinu deal with Jews. Because the next day he comes and he sees two Jews fighting with each other. And he's like, "Allo, what are you guys fighting for? Lama takeh re'echa? Why are you hitting your re'echa? Why are you hitting your friend? Like, what's going on over here?" And right now, it's going to be, how is he going to relate? What's going to be his job and his role with the Jewish people? Now, the first story, the two Jews look at him and they say to him, he says, "Allo, Moshe, what, you think you're like you're judging over us? Mi samecha leish sar b'shofet aleinu." Who made you the shofet on top of us? Who made you this judge that's going to tell us what to do? I remember hearing once from Rabbi Khan that, part of the reason why Moshe is going to run away is going to be like, oh, they don't want me to be their leader. Like, I thought I could be their leader, and they think that I can't be a leader. It's not going to be. I'm not the right guy for the job because look, they don't believe me. Now it's true. Chazal say it's the Tan Vaviram. The rest of the Jewish people did want to believe them, and then eventually when he's going to come back, the Jews are going to follow Moshe Rabbeinu. But at this point, he felt, okay, if I'm supposed to be a leader or not, they don't want me to be a shofet. Actually, I heard a beautiful Dvar Torah from Rabbeinu in my Beit Knesset last year where he said that when Moshe Moshe Rabbeinu saw the burning bush and he thought, oh my God, you can have something that's prickly. You can have this fire. You can have disaster all over the place, but it doesn't get burnt down. He said, oh, maybe I misunderstood the Jewish people. Maybe they can be prickly at times. Maybe the outside surroundings is burning them down, but if they can still not actually burn, if they can still have that pintel yid there, if their essence can still be there, maybe I should go back and give it a second try. And B'ezrat Hashem, hopefully it'll work. And that's why Hashem says, oh, Moshe Rabbeinu wants a second chance. Now I'm going to bring him back to be the leader. Okay, side idea. But Moshe Rabbeinu, basically, they tell him, do you want to be our shofet? Like, what are you trying to do? And the truth is, yes, that is. This also is a little bit of like a personal maaseh b'tzim Rabbeinu again. It's another foreshadowing to Moshe becoming the shofet. Because when we fast forward to parasha Yitro is going to look at Moshe Rabbeinu and he's going to tell his son-in-law, he's going to be, Moshe, you can't be standing up there being a shofet all day long. Same language. You can't be this judge. You're not going to make it. Rather, I need you to appoint sarim. Take ministers and second level people, v'samta alehem, and you're going to place them on top of the Jewish people on different levels, higher or lower. But this language of v'samta alehem is a similar language of when these two Jews look at him and says, oh, you want to be on top of us? Yeah, he's going to be on top of you. Not only is he going to be on top of you, he's going to make other judges on top of you as well. He's going to have a whole hierarchy. You are going to be the one to do that. And moreover, if you look at the language itself, he says, Lama takere'echa, why are you hitting your friend? And there he says, maybe there could be echoes here as well of v'havtarecha kamocha, that Moshe Rabbeinu is going to try to treat. These are going to be some of the halachot, some of the midot that Moshe is going to be teaching them in the Torah later on. And we have another halacha that says, Lo telech rachil ba'amecha, lo ta'amor al dam re'echa, don't speak lashon hara against somebody. We know what's going to make Moshe run away, that someone's going to speak lashon hara, and then it's chen noda davar. Now I know somebody told Paro what happens, and now he's going to teach them. There's no lashon hara. Al ta'amor al dam re'echa. You have to know how to be. You don't be fighting with each other. Be there for each other. Step it up for each other. So we see in these two early stories in Mitzrayim, Moshe Rabbeinu, really the whole beginning of his life before he takes over as that leader, we have all this foreshadowing where he's building those skills to be the great Moshe Rabbeinu. Shabbat Shalom.